Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this class on Kala Sarpa. In the last class, which was of course recorded, we had covered Ketu in the, Rahu in the 9th and Ketu in the 3rd. And while covering Ketu, we had taken up a few example charts. And that also included the charts of the chart of Mercury. And today we'll be looking at Rahu in the 10th house. Okay. Before we begin, let's start with the daily Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunakatu Sah Viryankar Vavahai Tejasvinadadetamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So Rahu in the 10th, we know that the 10th house is in Upachaya. Okay, so Rahu represents promise. Okay, so Rahu in the 10th is considered promising, but it is not beneficial because Rahu, it freezes the path of Mars. That is the reason it is, Rahu at Mars is called Kujastambhana. Rahu also consumes the sun, right? Rahu eclipses the sun. So since 10th house is the place where Mars and sun both get Digbala, so Rahu in the 10th house is not considered to be good. Okay, it's not considered to be beneficial. And we know that the 10th house is the house of finishing work. Okay, and since Rahu is an erratic malefic, it brings all the worldly and sensual desires to the 10th house. Okay, and this is unlikely to bring any merit to the reputation of the native who succumbs to its influence. Okay, so Rahu, we know it represents desire and obsession, while Ketu denotes ambivalence and detachment. And with Rahu in the 10th and Ketu in the 4th, this indicates a bias for command and control of others. Okay, social visibility and respect, prestigious offices and career, and limitless ambitions. And those ambitions sometimes come at the cost of one's family connections, education, empathy for the masses, as well as psychological stability. Okay. Now the 10th house rules the knees. That is the reason Jupiter debilitates in the original 10th house of Capricorn. Okay, because Jupiter is fats and 10th house ruling knees. So, fats cannot accumulate in the knees. Okay, no matter how, no matter how fat you are, no matter how fatty your body gets, the knees will always be free from fats. Okay, so as a result, Jupiter debilitates in the 10th house of Capricorn. But then because, Rahu can represent deformities, so this can provoke an issue with the knees. For example, it can indicate someone having bow legs or knock knees. Okay, and there is also a risk of breaks or tears or other injuries to the knee. And since there are a lot of evidence, astrological evidence to verify this claim, I have also seen 10th house Rahu giving surgery to repair the knee joint. Okay, or forcing the native to get a replacement. Why? Because Rahu represents things that are foreign or hybrid. Okay, so in the 10th house, it can also indicate a prosthetic knee. So for example, my spouse has Rahu in the 10th house and she has very weak knees. Okay, she finds it very difficult to walk even though her knees appear to be normal. Now, Rahu has the karakatva for the hands. Okay, so Rahu in the 10th can signify a person in whose public role the hands become prominent in some way. Okay, it could indicate someone using the hands a lot to indicate movement. Okay, so such a native may employ hand gestures to an inordinate degree, and because Rahu is a malefic, there could be a tendency for rude gestures like this. Okay, things which are considered to be rude. And coming to the psychological part, the native has a public persona that seems larger than life. Okay, so Rahu is like that king cobra, and in the 10th house, it suggests a person who rears up to full height, inflates his or her chest, fixes his or her potential prey with a focused stare, spits venom, and has the potential to strike without warning. Okay, so this could also indicate that the person has a very short-tempered nature. Okay. Now Rahu is contrarian. That means, the native will favor change over the status quo, reflect a minority opinion rather than side with the majority, be immune to reasonable arguments, and move sideways or backwards when others are trying to move forward. Okay. In short, what I'm trying to say is these people are very good at ignoring, good advice. Okay. They are very good at ignoring good advice, right? And Rahu in the 10th can, and this is particularly true if the Lagna is either Libra or Taurus or Scorpio. Okay, because these are the three Lagnas where people are very good at ignoring good advice. Okay, no other Lagna, right? And Rahu in the 10th can manifest as a rebellious attitude in all things undertaken by the native. And these people are very likely to face dissent. Okay, but even while faced with dissent, these people are unlikely to back down from any opposition and will rather use resistance as their rationale to buck the trend. Okay, to press forward with even greater fervor. Now, if this Rahu is an air is in an Aries sign, it indicates a lot of irregularity. That means it can give a person who does not adhere to normal protocols. Okay, and Rahu is a Chaya Graha, so it is invisible and operates from the shadows. So the native may pursue a human agenda, a hidden agenda. Okay, and such people are likely to act on intuition, seizing opportunities as they seizing opportunities as they arise and striking without warning and objectives previously unannounced. Okay, and Rahu also reflects desire, fascination, and obsession. So the native's natural disposition is to pursue anything with passion and everything that promises to enhance his or her power, reputation, status, or visibility. Okay, why? Because the 10th house is the house for fame. And who is the Karaka for fame? It is the sun. So since Rahu is getting to the position where the sun gets Digbala, so these natives can become really hungry for fame. Okay, and since Rahu is always cheating the system, it is his nature. So the native will use all expedient means to achieve his or her ambitions. There is no need to pay dues, they think like that. Or, there is no need to wait in line until your turn comes along. And the Rahuvian type personality considers himself or herself entitled to jump the line, to succeed by self-promotion, in lieu of unearned credentials. Okay, and in the name of revolution, there are no seniority rights. Okay, which means that it represents a person who makes the most noise. Okay, so these people, they think that if they make the most noise, they will garner the most attention. Okay, now Rahu is also a risk taker. Okay, just so Rahu is a risk taker. Okay, so in the 10th house, it suggests a native who pursues his fascinations with a lot of zeal, overly zealous. And this can reflect towards the native's attitude towards intoxicants or erotic sexual partners, business relationships with foreigners, running with a rough crowd, foreign travel, or even fraud and borderline criminal activities. Okay, now for Rahu in the 10th, this Rahu in the 10th has to be controlled by a strong Saturn. Okay, so unless a strong Saturn stabilizes the native's personality and enforces some moral responsibility, there is a danger that whatever position this native occupies, its mandate will become secondary to his need for ego fulfillment. Okay, so I've seen that Rahu is controlled only by Saturn. Okay, people think that Rahu is controlled by by Jupiter, but I've seen Rahu being controlled only by Saturn. Okay, so I have this Rahu in the second house, and people get surprised when I say that I have never tasted alcohol in my life, neither I have ever smoked a cigarette in my life. Okay, people always say that, oh my god, you have this Rahu in the second house and you must be doing all sorts of erotic stuff when it comes to trying new things, whether in terms of food or drinks. But what happens, my 12th house Saturn, which is retrograde, it is looking at this Rahu in the second, and it's getting, it has brought about an absolute control in terms of the food choices that I've made. Okay, so what happens is, with such a position, with Rahu in the 10, the native may use his or her high office for grandstanding without actually fulfilling its duties. Okay, now if Saturn is weak, then the native will fail to moderate his or her egoism. Okay, and that same egoism will worsen the situation, as I have just mentioned. Okay, so in the absence of a strong Saturn to control Rahu, this power hungry Rahu acts in a very narcissistic manner. Okay, and a native will have a habit of gratifying himself while remaining oblivious to the legitimate needs of the culture, enterprise, or political organization he or she is supposed to serve. Okay, and in such cases, ethical considerations are discarded, and the native takes whatever he or she wants under the guise of entitlement. Okay, now with Rahu in the 10th house, the native also wants to acquire social status, high visibility and power. And although such a native may have leadership skills that qualify them for public office and social responsibility, they may settle for symbolic roles as long as they get the visibility that they want. Okay, and in order to confirm their superiority, they will often establish themselves in a hierarchy, climbing a pyramid organization to achieve an elite office. Okay, and ultimately these are the people who seek a position of command, governance, dignity, and respect. And ironically, these people will do anything to achieve whatever they can. So they are very fame hungry. Okay, and as a result, these people are prone to autocratic or dictatorial tendencies. Okay, now these natives, they might want to be seen as an epitome of law and order, but because Rahu has a very shadowy nature, so such people may only achieve their ambitions through misrepresentation, subterfuge and trickery. And inflated expectations of entitlement may also be part and parcel of the executive privilege of these natives. And because Rahu exaggerates, the native can become overextended in his leadership authority. Okay, thinking that he has greater powers than he actually has. And further, Rahu has a very erratic and unpredictable nature. Okay, so that nature may reveal itself through unorthodox ways of directing others, and such ways they violate established norms of ethics and governance. Okay, and since Rahu is a rogue planet and in the 10th house, it gets maximum visibility. Okay, so the native is likely to have many of his misdeeds made public, via his or her own brash pronouncements, the disclosures of those around him or her, or being witnessed in public. Okay, and Rahu represents taboos. So these people, they may succeed despite or even because of breaking them. Okay, so such a native can easily gain power without achieving respect, and he may be a living exponent of the principle that there is no such thing like a bad publicity. Okay, now Rahu in the 10th may be considered an outsider by the establishment, okay, by the society. And these people, they very easily get labeled as black sheep or change agents or dark horse or gate crashers or iconoclast or renegade, shit disturber and taboo breaker. So all these names, they suggest both their primal ambition, okay, and these ambitions often have ulterior motives, as well as the combination of fascination and disgust with which the public witnesses their rise, okay, their rise to power. Now, Rahu is a demon. Okay, so Rahu is that interloper who does not deserve the privileges of the ruling class, the gods. Okay, Sun is the king. So only Sun and Moon have the privilege of the ruling class. But then Rahu, because he does not deserve these privileges, he is desperate to mingle with people of prestige. So as a result, the native can become an, inveterate name dropper, alluding to friendships with celebrities. Those people, you've seen people in the crowd who tell you that, look, I have done a lot of things. I have a lot of contact with politicians, with celebrities. I can do this for you, I can do that for you. So everything is Rahu, who is trying to assert his authority. Okay, and why is it done? It is all done in the hope that some glamour will rub off on them. Okay, and the art and entertainment fields, they typically embrace outsiders with talent. Okay, so these places are fertile grounds for their social and professional activities. Okay, now because Rahu is associated with all things foreign, so natives with Rahu in the 10th can be professionally involved with foreigners. For example, the diplomatic corps, immigration, import export, foreign exchange, foreign trade, and international agencies of all kinds. Okay, and the native may also have a gift for governance and executive leadership, a bit with inflated authority. Okay, and there is a great desire to get things done in time, and the native is likely to be impatient, capable of crashing barriers to achieve his ambitions. And since Rahu is also the grabber, the native may be employed in a profession where grasping things is a part of the job. For example, baseball player, or tool wielding tradesmen, or even crop pickers. Okay. Now, Rahu also signifies all matter of all types of poisons and their antidotes. So in the 10th house, it can indicate beer brewers, alcohol distillers, liquor store managers, tobacco manufacturers, marijuana cultivators, and even cocaine dealers. Okay, so higher up on the supply chain of poisons and antidotes, it also rules pharmacists, drug researchers, pharmaceutical executives, anesthesiologists, and oncologists. Okay, and all the on the alternative health side, there are homeopaths, like naturopaths, or traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, and even Ayurvedics. Okay, and because Rahu rules the bones, so in the 10th house, not Rahu does not rule the bones, Rahu affects the bones. Okay, so in the 10th house, it can indicate someone with a professional involvement in bone health. For example, an orthopedic surgeon or an osteopath. Okay, so the 10th house also rules illusion and the occult. So in the 10th, Rahu's presence can indicate a professional magician, or maybe a psychic, or a tarot card reader, or even some astrologer. Okay, so this was Rahu in the 10th house. Do you have any questions? If not, we can wrap it up. Okay, so I don't think anyone has questions. All right then, thank you everyone for joining in. In the next class, we'll be looking at Ketu in the 4th house. Okay, and we have almost reached the end of the course. We have 4 more classes to go with Rahu and Ketu in the houses, and then we will put the concluding remarks on Kala Sarpa. Okay, so thank you everyone. Please join in for the Jyotish Foundation class tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. I'll see you there live. Namaste. Om Gurave Namah.